Well, hello there everyone. It's Robin the Delta Crafter and I want to thank you for joining me for another video on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Hero Art's Hero Paste. Now Hero Paste has been on the market for a little while now. It actually comes in 3 different formulations. And we're going to take a look at each of these 3 formulations and I'm going to show you some of my favorite ways to use Hero Paste. So Hero Paste is a paste that can be used on mixed media and paper crafting to give your projects some texture and dimension. There are actually 4 formulations. This is the very first one right here that I'm showing you. That is the white. I also have the glitter Hero Paste. And it dries clear, but it leaves a nice iridescent glitter on the paper. And then there's gold as well. A 4th one that they've just come out with is white pearl. I don't have that one on hand, but I plan to order it. So let's go ahead and get started in our first way that we're going to use it. So our first technique is going to be applying our Hero Paste through a stencil on a dark background. So I have a piece of pitch black cardstock from Hero Arts. This is my favorite black cardstock because it's the darkest black I've ever been able to find on the market. And we're going to apply some of this gold Hero Paste through this Cheetah stencil from scrapbook.com. So I'm going to adhere my cardstock to the stencil using some mint tape. That's also from scrapbook.com. And by the way, I'll have all these products listed and linked below in the description box for you. And then once I get my paper stuck to my stencil, or my stencil stuck to my paper, however you want to say it, I'm going to go into my Hero Paste. So I want to make sure that I mix it up and get make sure there's been any separation. I want to mix it all back together and get a good dollop of this paste onto my palette knife. You can see that I've already used my paste before and I've covered up the paste with a piece of press and seal. I learned this trick from Holtz. Anytime you use a paste, you want to make sure that you kind of reduce the amount of air that touches the surface of your paste. That will give you some longevity in your with your paste. So you take a piece of press and seal and then you'll press it back down onto the surface of your paste. And I'll show you how to do that a little bit later on. But once I got a good sized dollop of that beautiful gold Hero Paste onto my palette knife, I just go and I spread that paste all through my stencil, making sure that I get good coverage. Because we're applying this gold to this black background, it's going to give us a bold texture and imprint on this black cardstock of this cheetah print from the stencil, which I think is just going to it turns out so fabulous. If you don't have enough paste on your palette knife, you just dip back into your paste and grab a little bit more. So now that I've covered my image completely, I'm just going to take that extra paste that's on my palette knife and scrape that back into my jar because I don't want to waste it. And then now you can see where I'm taking that press and seal and pressing it back to the surface of my paste. That's going to allow me again to have longevity with my paste. You want to make sure that you clean your knife or at least wrap it in a wet towel so that the paste doesn't dry on your knife, on your palette knife, and then you pull your stencil away. Make sure you have a tub of water next to you so you can immediately put your stencil into some water if you're not able to get to the sink right away to clean it off. That's going to help you be able to get that paste off really easily later on. So let's take a look at this bold texture and image we were able to get using this gold Hero Arts paste. So we're moving on to our second technique. So our second technique is going to be applying some Hero Paste over an inked up background. So I brought in my blue ink blending brush and I didn't even dip it into any ink. I'm just using the residual ink that's left over on my ink blending brush and I'm just adding that to my light blue cardstock. And so what I'm going to do is, this is going to give me an ombre effect. I want a darker color at the bottom because of the stencil that I'm using. It's like ocean waves. And I'm going to use the glitter hero paste on with this stencil. Because the glitter hero paste dries clear, I'm going to be able to see that ombre inked effect through the glitter paste. So I'm opening up my paste here. And again, I'm going to kind of stir it a little bit to make sure that if there was any separation or anything that happened, or any, maybe even a slight bit of dryness, I'm making sure that my paste is malleable and that everything is mixed together well, and that I'm going to be able to spread it easily. So I've put some paste on my palette knife, and now I'm going to work it through the stencil just like I did in my previous technique, and it's technique number 1. So this stencil has a lot of intricate lines to it, and so just be mindful of that when you choose your stencils and when you're working with your stencil and the paste. You're going to need to just be careful just to make sure that you don't tear anything. So I've got a good application of that glitter paste, and now I'm going to pull back my stencil. And I still have my tub of water over to the side. I'm going to place that stencil into that tub. I'm going to hit this glitter paste with my heat tool, because one of the things that you can do with the glitter hero paste is you can hold the heat on it in some places for a little bit longer, and you can see you get kind of a white foamy effect. And because this is kind of a water scene, I wanted to have a little bit more texture, as well as a little bit, some white spaces of that glitter paste. You can see I have quite a bit of texture with this glitter paste, and I really like that. It just gives a lot of depth and dimension to this background. So the third technique that we're going to use is we're going to take some dollops of our white hero paste and we're going to tint it. So we're going to take some liquid color and we're going to add it to some dollops, and we're going to change the paste from white to these 3 different colors here. So I'm going to be using some Distress Ink Reinkers, and I'm using Squeezed Lemonade, Kitsch Flamingo, and Tumbled Glass. So we're going to get a pretty yellow, a pink, and a light blue colored paste. So because you can tint this paste, the sky's the limit on what you can do with this white paste. So when you're doing this technique, you want to make sure that you are working on a non-porous surface, such as this glass board craft mat that I have here. I do have a coupon code for you if you're interested in getting one of these. It'll be listed and linked in the description box below as well. So now that I've got my dollops of the white hero paste on my board here, I'm going to add 2 drops of color to each dollop. You can definitely add more color if you want to. I just started with 2 drops because I wanted to see what the intensity of the color would be with just 2 drops. I'd rather start with fewer drops and then add more if needed. And then, starting out really dark, and then, with a lot of colors, and it comes out really dark, and then I have to start all over. So once you've dropped your color onto your paste, you just want to keep mixing your paste until there's no white paste showing. So you may have to, press hard and keep scraping the colors together to really make sure that you've got a nice consistency of color through and through your paste, and that there's no white pockets of paste left in your pile there, in your mixture there. So I just worked my way through each of the colors, and again, because this is you're tinting, you're basically creating your own colored paste. The sky is the limit with what you can do here. So I'm going to be using the Spring Floral Stencil for this third technique. And I've just taped a piece of Nina Classic Crest Solar White cardstock, an 80-pound weight, to the back of that stencil. So I picked up my yellow paste here, and I'm just going to scrape that through my stencil. One of the things I love about this particular technique is when I have the two colors come together and you kind of get a mixed color image when you pull the stencil back. So I'm pulling that back here. Again, I still have my tub of water next to me, so I'm just going to throw that stencil in there as well. And then now this background is complete, and all I need to do now is just give it some time to dry. You could go ahead and hit it with the heat tool, but I decided to let this one air dry. See those butterflies, how they have a couple of colors on them? I think that's so, so pretty. You can already see the texture that using this paste is giving to this background. So off camera, I went ahead and finished up these cards by using some dies that I had in my stash to create some sentiments. So this You Did It die is from Simon Says Stamp. And I love the way the gold baubles that for the dots of the eyes tie into the gold paste that was used to create that cheetah background. That's a really eye-catching card there. I used this Hello sentiment from Pinkfresh Studio to create the Hello die, and that's in coordinating cardstock colors that match the inked up background of our card. That glitter is really shining through, as well as the heated areas of that glitter paste. And then for the third technique, I used a larger Hello, also from Pinkfresh Studio, but I applied that to an acrylic shadow so that you could really see all of those colored images made with that tinted paste through the sentiment. So I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. We'd love to have you as a part of the Delta Crafter family. You can always find me on Instagram and Facebook at the Delta Crafter, as well as on my website at thedeltacrafter.com. The products that I used today will be listed and linked below, so if you're interested in grabbing any of these, be sure to click those links in the description box. Thanks again for stopping by, and until next time, enjoy!